Brenda slammed the manila folder onto the mahogany conference table. Starting this month, all unofficial stipends across the administrative department are cancelled. The dozen or so people in the room went dead silent. I sat in the furthest corner, my pen stalling for a fraction of a second on my legal pad. Brenda was our newly minted director of administration. Word was she'd been parachuted in from corporate headquarters in New York, eager to light a few fires and mark her territory. The first match, it seemed, was being tossed right at my feet. Nora. She flipped open the employee roster, making a point to lift her chin and meet my eyes when she read my name. That $500 monthly translation stipend you've been drawing, it stops today. Brenda, I said, keeping my voice perfectly level. That stipend was approved by our CEO 3 years ago because I manage all the French documentation and handle the VIP European delegations. I am aware, she cut me off, holding up a manicured hand. But your official title is administrative assistant. Translation does not fall under your job description. You've been doing it for 6 years, yes, but no one has ever issued you a formal sanctioned work order for translation services, correct? There are no formal work orders, but I have exclusively handled every French-related corporate asset since, exactly. She leaned back in her ergonomic chair, spreading her hands in a gesture of mock helplessness. No work order means it's not an official duty. The company is under no obligation to compensate you for voluntary extracurriculars. It's a matter of corporate policy, Nora, nothing personal. Beside me, David, a senior admin who had been here since the dawn of time, shot me a pained look. He opened his mouth, then closed it. I didn't say another word. After the meeting, David caught up to me in the hallway. Nora, don't let her get in your head. She's new. She doesn't understand the ecosystem here. She understands perfectly. I hugged my clipboard to my chest. She pulled my personnel file on her first day. She knows I've been the sole translator for 6 years. She's making an example out of me to establish dominance. David sighed, running a hand through his thinning hair. But the French accounts? What about the translation work? She said it herself. It's not an official duty. I gave him a tight, close-mouthed smile. So, I won't do it. David's expression twisted into a knot of anxiety, but he didn't argue. Back at my cubicle, I woke up my monitors. Sitting in my inbox were 3 emails from our French partners, final legal confirmations for our upcoming engineering contracts. In the past, I would have processed them by lunch, translating the dense legal structural jargon and forwarding them to the project management team without a second thought. I highlighted all 3, marked them as read, and closed Outlook. If it wasn't my job, I wasn't doing it. At 4 p.m., Sarah from project management trotted over to my desk, looking frantic. Hey Nora, did you see those emails from Paris? We need the English copies ASAP. I saw them. Great. So the translations? You'll need to submit a formal work order request to Brenda for approval, I said smoothly. Once she assigns it to me, I'll get right on it. Sarah blinked, entirely derailed. Wait, what? But you usually just shoot them over to us. That was before. I offered her a polite, apologetic smile. Brenda made it very clear today. Without a work order, it's not an official task. I'm just an administrative assistant, Sarah. I can't be overstepping my role. Sarah stood there for a long moment, mouth slightly open, before pivoting on her heel and marching toward Brenda's office. At 7 p.m., I was packing my tote bag to leave when my phone buzzed. A text from David. Just heard the news. Sylvie is flying in at the end of the month. A 3-day site visit. She needs a full-time bilingual escort. I stared at the glowing screen for 3 seconds before slipping the phone into my trench coat pocket. What did that have to do with me? I was just an admin. By the next morning, the news about the French Viv IP had saturated the office. Sylvie, executive vice president of Group MBT, the French construction conglomerate that held Pinnacle Engineering's largest overseas contract. We were talking about a $150 million deal. Every year, she flew to Chicago for a site inspection. Every year, for 6 years, I had been her shadow, her voice, her cultural liaison. 6 years, 0 mistakes. Nora, step into my office. Brenda was standing in her doorway. I followed her inside, and she clicked the door shut behind me. I assume you've heard about Sylvie's visit at the end of the month. I have. You'll resume your duties as her primary interpreter. I looked at her. Really looked at her. Brenda, you explicitly stated yesterday that translation is outside my job description. A flicker of irritation crossed her face. This is an exceptional circumstance requiring an exception to the rule. She is our most critical international client. Will my stipend be reinstated then? She paused, her jaw tightening. Company policy has been updated. We cannot make financial exceptions for one employee. Consider this mandatory overtime. I'll authorize a few days of comp time for you afterward. Comp time. I let the words hang in the sterile